Okay, folks, we're back in the 172, flying with the VR. I have the scenarios window in the plugins folder, so it automatically shows up right in front of me, locked to my headset. And so I'm just going to leave it there and load up the holding pattern one. Let's start out by initializing the position. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause it now. And move this a little bit out of the way. All right, so initializing the position puts us right where we need to be at the right altitude, at the right heading and airspeed, 120 knots. And if you look at the GPS here, you can see we are just south of the Morro Bay VOR. Morro Bay VOR right there. The frequency has already been loaded for the Morro Bay VOR, which is 112.4, and it has been identified there. You can see it showing up down below. So the heading bug is already set for 340, and the autopilot is currently engaged in heading mode and altitude pre-select. So it set us up fairly nicely to do this VOR hold. You can also see here that the OBS is set for the 180-degree radial from the 170. So if it's a 170 outbound radial, then we'll get proper sensing on the CDI needle if we set that at 350 at the top of the OBS meter, and the to from flag is showing 2. So I think we can go ahead and now just bring up the holding pattern again and look at that pre-briefing. So the pre-briefing I will kind of set right here perhaps. So we're starting here at this point, just at the edge of the coast. You can see there we are just off at the edge of the coast, and we're going to be determining our wind correction angle as we proceed along this CDI course of 350. And once we pass over, we will make our outbound turn, and what we determine on the wind correction angle, we'll take 3 times that for our outbound leg. And because we have this wind at about 15 knots at 270, so it's off our left, so we're going to be kind of crabbing along here. Probably not at 350. That's why I have my heading bug. I should probably put it at about 340 because I'm anticipating about a 10 knot wind correction angle. We'll see how that works out. So I'm also, for this one, I'm just going to use the autopilot. However, I suggest that you start out the scenario with the autopilot and then increase your challenge and use it without the autopilot. So, all right, I think we're ready to rock and roll here. We can monitor our score here as we're going along. We can resume or pause as we go along, and we'll see our active evaluators here to determine what our targets are. So let me go ahead and start the lesson. So as soon as I start this lesson, these windows I think are going to go away. Actually, yep. I have to resync the position. All right, so let's resume.
In this lesson, you will practice a standard holding pattern at the Morro Bay VOR on the 170-degree radial. Position the aircraft 4 miles south of the VOR at an altitude of 5,000 feet. There is a 15-knot crosswind from the west. Track the inbound course of 350 degrees to determine the wind correction angle and maintain 5,000 feet and 120 knots. I set your OBS and navigation radio for you. Cleared to the Morro Bay VOR, hold south on the 170-degree radial. You have reached the required altitude and speed. Track inbound on the 170 radial to determine your wind correction angle. Maintain 5,000 feet.
Okie doke. Well, I am got my needle centered here, and I am doing about 140. Yeah, it's starting to move a little bit to the left there, so I need to steer towards the needle. That is because I have the correct sensing on the needle. So probably there I am, getting a little closer to the VOR, and it has my distance to the VOR counting down. We're at 2.3 miles to the VOR. I'm probably right about in this area now. So I'd say our wind correction angle is about 10 degrees. Maybe a little bit less.
The CDI needle is now centered, and I will begin evaluating you on how well you can keep it centered.
Okay, so now we're being evaluated on our course. See how it's red? That means I have to keep that needle centered.
The CDI is becoming more sensitive as you approach the zone of confusion. Get ready to start your turn to the right.
Okay, I'm getting ready to start my timer. Gonna flip any second now.
We have passed over the VOR and the flag has flipped. Begin your standard rate turn now. Remember to correct the outbound heading with the wind correction angle. A good rule of thumb is to add or subtract 3 times the inbound wind correction angle.
Okay, so 3 times the wind correction angle, so normally it would be 170 if it was exactly the right, so I'm going to go 180, 190, maybe 200. Right about there on the heading bug. So now starting my turn, I'm watching for that to from flag to flip again, which will be right about there. Watching that, getting ready to press my timer, which is right here. There we go.
The flag has flipped again. Start your timer now.
Okay.
After 1 minute,
Timer's running.
You will turn right again and intercept the inbound course.
So notice now my CDI is no longer centered because I am to the right of the course. The score is looking good. I'm at 100%. Watching my timer at 1 minute. I should be starting my right turn again. Getting ready.
Okay, that's 1 minute. Start your turn now and reset the timer. Get ready to start the timer again when you have completed the turn inbound. We are shooting for exactly 1 minute on the inbound course.
So normally it's 350, which is there, but I'm gonna do like a 45-degree intercept onto the course as I come back, wrap around. So I'm currently probably right in this area.
Start your timer and keep
There
the
we go.
CDI needle centered. Remember, we are shooting for 1 minute on the inbound left.
Alright, timer started again. And get that CDI needle centered up now again. So now I'm starting on my inbound towards the VOR. And
The CDI needle is now centered and I will begin evaluating you on how well you can keep it centered.
Okay. Remember, 350 would be, but I have to do a wind correction. So that means a little bit more. The eye is already moving off center here.
Check your position. You are off course.
So I didn't get that CDI centered up like I should. Now it's starting to tract from my
Prepare to go around the hold a second time. That completes your first hold around the pattern. Start your turn to the right and reset your timer.
Alright, we just completed our first turn around the hold. And now we're starting our second outbound. Remember, this is going to be a much longer turn because of the wind out of the west, so it's blowing us into a larger turn here, larger than standard without wind. And so we're going to watch for our to from flag to flip again, and I'm going to make sure I get this set with my 3 times the inbound wind correction angle. So it's about 10 degrees wind correction angle, so that means I'm going to do a 30-degree correction. Instead of 170, I'm 200.
The flag has flipped again. Start your timer now.
Okay.
Adjust your outbound leg time and heading if necessary. You should be directly over the inbound course when the wings roll level from a standard rate turn. Your inbound leg time in the last hold was 18 seconds.
So it basically said that I'm supposed to start my timer as soon as it flips and wings are level. So I'm looking for probably a little bit longer than 1 minute. I'll go for like 1 minute and 3 seconds or so, because of this wind out of the west here, and with my 30-degree wind correction angle, I have just a little bit of
Okay, that's 1 minute. Start your turn now. Get ready to start the timer again when you have completed the turn inbound. We are shooting for exactly 1 minute on the inbound course.
Okay, so I'm just doing this turn here, coming around on my second hold, and I'm gonna set this for some sort of 40.
Start your timer again and intercept the inbound course.
Okay, it's moving.
Remember, we are shooting for 1 minute on the inbound leg.
And I'm starting that timer again because the CDI needle is moving.
The CDI needle is now centered and I will begin evaluating you on how well you can keep it centered.
Alright, so oops, I'm not doing too well here. Let me get this thing back about 340 where it was before. Oh man, I almost got a complete CDI deflection there. Alright.
Check your position. You are off course.
There, now it's coming back in. As I get closer though to the VOR, I definitely don't want to over control. See how close I am to the VOR now. That's 1 minute exactly. and going over a minute.
We will go one last time around the hole.
All right.
Pause the sim now and check the breadcrumb path on the map to check the shape of your hold. That completes your second hold around. Please regain control of the aircraft.
All right, so I'm going around a second time here. Didn't like that because I was a little bit CDI needle was reflected there. All right, so now I'm going to stop that, reset it, and get ready to start it again. So I'm gonna go for like, I think I had that wind correction angle good, about 200. So I'm gonna keep that, but it looks like I need to shorten my time a little bit.
The flag has flipped. Start your timer now. Adjust your outbound leg time and heading if necessary. Your inbound leg time in the last hold was 24 seconds.
All right, so now I'm going outbound again. And I'm gonna go with about 55 seconds because I was over a minute on my last inbound leg. So now I'm currently outbound again with my 3x wind correction angle, and I'm looking for 1 minute on the timer, or I'm sorry, 55 seconds on the timer.
Okay, that's 1 minute. Start your turn now. Get ready to start the timer again when you have completed the turn inbound. We are shooting for exactly 1 minute on the inbound course.
Got my timer ready to go now again to start it. As soon as that needle comes alive, I want to set that timer. Needle should come alive any second now. Come on, needle.
Start your timer now and intercept the inbound course. Then, keep the CDI needle centered while tracking inbound.
So, my needle is centering up here. It's going to start evaluating me again.
The CDI needle is now centered and I will begin evaluating you on how well you can keep it centered.
Okay, I'm at 27 seconds here. I'm looking for exactly 1 minute when the to from flag flips again. Almost to the VOR, 0.7 miles, 46 seconds. Oh, a little correction there to that CPI. Starting to...
Almost finished with your third and final hold.
There's 1 minute right there. There we go.
That completes your third and last hold around the pattern.
6 seconds off.
Your inbound leg time in this last hold was 60 seconds.
60 seconds for the inbound. Alright, I got about, I don't know, 66 seconds, but the timer on the computer is a little bit different than when you actually push the button. So that was 3 times around the hold. With wind, doing the wind correction angle, tracking the inbound course. Here are our results. Score of 79%. I got 4,700 points. I did pass. The current holding information then just gets recorded here with my status that was completed. And that wraps up the holding pattern